A people without knowledge of their history, origin, and culture is like a tree without its roots. Hi there, welcome to another exciting episode of our Timeline podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Egensi, and our topic for today will be on cultural properties. This is a conversation that has shaped civilization, it has sparked debate, and continues to be a bridge between the past, the present, and the future. From ancient artifacts to monumental structure, each piece tells a story of its own. And now in the present, it takes on a new significance because it's not just about preserving the past, it's about navigating the complexities of globalization. How does this all set the stage for the future? What does the future hold for these cultural properties? Well, we'll find out. As usual, I have my co-host with me to navigate this ship. Hi, Precious. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Very pretty.
So do you.
This is about to be a very exciting episode, right, Jennifer?
Right. And speaking of exciting, I was having this reflective moments earlier. I was thinking about this stuff and I was like, have you ever had any moments where you felt so close to your culture? Like one outstanding moment in your mind about like where you related with your identity so well?
Yeah, well, yes, I would say yes, because we heard like a lot of stories about our culture, about how we grew up, about things that made up our culture, and there were times where you just heard stories and they were like, oh, this was us.
Because I saw this picture of me when I went to the museum, and even though I can't really remember all that was said there because I was pretty young, but I could still remember the pictures I saw, because I even remember seeing like the car where they shot one of our presidents then, and it was like, this is really cool. And that's like what cultural properties does, because it helps us to relate to our identity, it helps us to remember things that happened. I know cultural properties have to do with objects, signs, sites, sculptures that hold significance both traditionally, culturally, socially. Even like it means a lot to a lot of people, to a nation, to a community.
Yes, Jennifer. Cultural properties are anything at all that hold a significance to a particular people. This is something that you can see and attach it to a particular people. Maybe they just have some sort of meaning that they hold dear to their hearts, and they can say, oh, this thing happened as a result of this, or this thing happened as a result of this. These things they can be like anything, signs, buildings, anything at all that relates to a particular people.
And I can't even like whenever I hear like culture, I don't know, maybe it's because I've not even really been to a lot of places, but when I hear culture, like I always think Africa,
right?
It's like, oh, are the only ones that have this culture. But like when I was reading up on this, I saw that a lot of people have different things that means then, like there are so many diverse cultures everywhere. And I'm pretty sure that even the jeans that we're wearing is somebody's culture.
Of
because
course.
we say English wear. English is what? England.
Exactly,
like, So you see, like even in Canada, they have like the Quebec Park. There are a lot of places, the Stonehenge Island in England.
Yes, many sites.
Yeah, even in Nigeria now we have like the Oshobo Sacred Grove, which is like, I think I was watching like a documentary where they were doing this festival. So in the Sacred Grove is like a kind of a forest where they do the spiritual goddess Oshun resides there. So they go there like annually to celebrate her. And it links them to their tradition. A lot of people travel down for it. Like I was seeing a lot of pictures, like people were on their different attires, exactly, and they were even like a lot of rituals going on there, and it looked so like nice. Like it was so nice that people actually come back for this type of thing. And then you even see like the Suku cultural landscape. This is like, when I was looking at the pictures, like how do people even do this? Like it was built on rocks, like it was terraced, like rocks. Just
packing rocks.
And it's like this place. They said, oh, this place was like used for like it's known to the people of Adamawa, like, and it's close to the Cameroon border. And it's like these places are like places that you can be passing. Maybe when you're traveling and you look at it, I'm like, what's this beautiful place? Yeah. And it's even the first Africa site to be recognized by the World Heritage, the UNESCO World Heritage Center. And it's like, this is really cool that we're actually seeing all these things like happen, like all these places. And then these are sites. Sites are like the ones that cannot be moved. They are there.
Speaking of sites, when I saw a picture about the Sukuru, what's it called, and then you could like see the stones that they get. And it just makes me wonder, how long would it have taken for them to construct something like that?
Solid.
Do you get
because exactly. It's over 400 years, and
they're like those stones, As
people, at that time, like maybe now that we have internet, a lot of people don't really have time to tap into their creative side. So then they had nothing to do. Probably they were just stacking up stones. They didn't have enough to work with.
Exactly.
And now it ends up being something that people revere a lot here. And these are like for the sites, so that cannot be moved. You get. What about like artifacts now that actually you can move them? These are artifacts that you can actually take from one place to another. People have. We have the Benin bronzes, for example. Now these Benin bronzes, people like when I was seeing bronzes, I expected to see like bronze, maybe because I've always seen diamond, gold, bronze. But then they're actually a lot, over 5,000 of them, and they are made out of brass, bronze, ivory sculptures. They were used to to adorn the palace, as then the shrines. They were used to revere the kings. Maybe if you're a good king, even if you're bad, they would just make a bronze image of you or a brass image of you. And then, like, these things were there. People were using it. So actually, when they come to the palace will be looking beautiful. Even when I watch movies, I see this whole, like, sculptures there. And then it was now stolen from us. It was looted in 1897 by the British people.
Before you speak about how it was stolen, you know that I don't know if you know, but in Edo State, the palace, especially in Benin, the palace, in fact, if you go to the palace, or maybe you're just passing by the palace, there's this aura. Okay. You know that this place is a kind of place that you cannot just do anyhow there. Do you get? Yeah. So, like, for these things, I can already imagine these artifacts, these sculptures being there, because the kings, like, it is just taking them back to their past, that this person reigned. You might not even have been there when the person reigned or something, but because it's a different thing when you're just hearing, but then now you can hear and you can see at the same time, because it's just beautiful.
Now I think in this present time is what we see as maybe portraits, maybe when a president
just take a picture. But then it's different, to carve the best
type of material. They carve out the face of whomever they want to remember. It could even be officials that went to war and they came back successful,
and it can stand the test of time.
And then it was now looted because of the colonization. At that point, they wanted to, they made the Oba as at then sign a treaty where they can do trade. I mean, I'm speaking about trade. I'm not even talking about trying to buy food or vegetables. We're talking about people,
human beings,
and even these artifacts too. But then the Oba refused, and because of that, they sent in people to, like, they sent in people to
threaten him or something.
To threaten, and everything. They looted out over 3,000 of our artifacts, and now it can be found in different museums. Like, why are they doing such thing? Like, why are they going around taking things? If you want to have a conversation with somebody, you can do it without violence. Come and talk to me.
Well, they were in the colonial period that time, so they felt like they were, like our gods, in quotes. So they felt like they could just take anything, whatever. But then I feel like it was very, very commendable of the Oba in that time to actually stand his ground. Because it would have been possible that they just told him, we are just coming to collect something, and he's like, okay, no problem, since you're our god. But then I feel like it's very, very commendable
because
that he stood his ground.
He knew that it will not mean anything to them, because why are you going for something that, at least the robbers are stealing money, they know they want to use the money and do something, but this one you don't even know
that's the reason why I said that's the reason why I said it's different when you are just hearing. But this one, like, the Oba then probably, like, felt, in Benin they actually, like, do a lot of rituals where they have to, like, probably invoke the spirit of the past king to, like, make you rule. So, like, they have a special connection. So even the people that have already stolen this thing, you just know that this thing is about this, but then it just feels like something very meager, right? So I mean, why would they want to steal it? Do you understand? Speaking of rituals, we have the Ere Ibeji sculpture. The Ere Ibeji sculpture is a wooden carving of a male and female figure once used by the Yoruba. Apart from the Benin people, where, normally when you say I'm from Edo State, they'll say Edo Winch, Benin Winch, and all of that. But Yorubas also have, like, they also have their own rituals and gods, that they also revere a lot. So this Ere Ibeji sculpture, this particular sculpture can be out of the books now, right? I saw a lot of pictures, and when you hear Ere Ibeji in Yoruba means twins. So you just feel like, boy and girl, or maybe girl and girl, like being twins now. But this particular sculpture is just to revere the spiritual gods. They call them Iyawa. You get? So twins were, they, that normally in Yoruba land they revere twins. As a matter of fact, exactly, they revere twins a whole lot. Like, they take twins like gold. And then in the olden days, I think that was in the 18th century rather, there was a high level of death among children. Yes. So in a situation where, let me say, a mother gives birth to twins and then one dies and the other one is still alive, they make this sculpture to kind of like tell the spiritual mother, please take care of the one that has gone. Do you understand? So at least maybe send another one for us or something. So they just sculpt this thing. And this particular sculpture is not done by anybody, at least in the olden days. It wasn't just done by anybody. This, when, let me say, you lose your child or something, and then they actually take you to a divine carver. That's the reason why I say these people have, like, special connection to this thing, because not anybody can just wake up and say that they want to carve something. Do you understand? They have to, like, have a special divination, a special spirit that connects them to the mothers. Do you understand? So they just carve these things, and then the mothers of the deceased children have to, like, bathe the kids like their own, so that the spiritual mothers can know that, this is how you are supposed to, like, this is how you would have taken care of your child. And then you just believe that, this child that is already dead would have been taken care of by me. According to research, it has shown that families, particularly grieving mothers, take comfort in the belief that a spiritual mother is caring for and guarding for the departed child. Like I said earlier, they just believe that this mother is the one that oversees everything, like literally everything that goes on in the Yoruba kingdom. So they believe that if she can take care of the dead children, that means she can take care of the one that is alive and take care of the mother herself. I feel like that is just like very, very brilliant, if you ask me, because how would they have like so much faith in this particular thing? Yeah.
But if the funny thing is, when somebody hears that now, they were like, that's like so scary, because why are you having something of a dead person?
But
why?
It actually means a lot to
it happens now.
Yes,
just that, now. Because now if a woman is like having miscarriage, or maybe she just has this like attachment to a child and the child dies, they give them like a live doll. Where they bait
take care of them like their own child.
So like now, but when people hear, this was happening in the so and so area,
yes, westernization has almost exactly westernization has almost killed our culture.
The fact that artifacts too were not also just in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Like in Ghana, for example, they had the Ashanti stool, the golden stool of the Ashanti kingdom. Sorry, and it's like this stool. If you hear the stories, it's like, why? First of all, like the stories are always so crazy, because they were like, okay, the chief founder and the king, as are then this stool dropped from the sky, and it's like, this is where the king is supposed to sit down. Nobody touches this stool. Nobody touches the stool. Yeah, it was stolen. Like, you don't even know
how though. But like, what if something would have happened to them if they had touched it or something?
The stool was like a source of power for them. They fought wars with it, and they were very successful. And then when the British people found out that this is what was their source of strength, they said to take it, and it led to the war of the golden stool. Like, people fought, like they stood their ground for it, and because of that, they even at some point the British people returned it to them, but as a form of reconciliation, because they were very like impressed with their resilience. They said, nobody's taking this thing from us. But a lot of people died, even though they still took it, but still a lot of people died. They show that this thing, like, we're not leaving this tool for you, because you guys don't even know the importance. You guys don't even know, like, the governors that then wanted to sit down on it, and they were like, no, we cannot allow you to sit down on it, even though you people are like literally the one colonizing us. But you don't understand, like, you've taken everything, but leave this one for us. And still,
that is like actually very, very commendable. Yeah, like they actually stood their ground, because there are like a lot of artifacts in Britain, in a lot of countries that belongs to Africa, that belongs to Nigeria. But then their excuse in quotes is that Nigerians do not have good museums to take care of these things. Nigeria do not have good facilities to take care of these things, and then they feel like they are the best people that can take care. True, they have like the facilities, but then it's not yours.
Yeah, but someone even said, like, it's better for my car to be parked in front of my house spoiling. Do you get that?
True,
to be parked in
another
like,
exactly.
Thank you. We know you feel you can take care of it, but we want to have it in our kingdom.
Another thing is, there are actually palaces, right? Because most of these things belong to like kings, Oba, and all of these things. So like they can keep it in the palaces as well, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't understand.
We even have the Elgin marbles. This one is even in Greece, and apparently, like, this is among the crown jewels now of the British kingdom, and they're still asking for it, because most of all these artifacts that are being moved, most of these artifacts that are being taken from these people, is like they're not even using it. The people that own it know the significance of it properly, and then you're taking it to another place and using it for aesthetic purposes to put it in museums. They feel like if they remove it, like, or some of them are even claiming, oh, this thing was given to us for free, like we won it free and free. You want it free and feel okay, thank you, we want it back.
Exactly.
Give it back to me.
Exactly. I mean, I wonder why you stole it, right? Or maybe you got it, or maybe it was auctioned, because there were a lot of artifacts that were auctioned in the 1987. Yeah. But then you got it for a price. Maybe just collect.
You don't get proof.
Actually, no evidence. Yeah. But like, actually, just return it maybe for that same price, or maybe even higher, because there are a lot of countries that are willing to pay. Yeah. But then they're like, no, we want it in our museums because of the economic benefits that it gives to them. Yeah. I honestly wonder why. Speaking of the other artifacts that we have in other countries, we have the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is a stele of granodiorite inscribed with 3 versions of a decree issued in Memphis, Egypt, in 196 BC. First off, out of the books, right? Mm-hmm. This particular decree was written by one of their kings in a very, very old time. Yeah. And at that point, a lot of them could not read. Like, they couldn't read in the Egyptian language. And then this decree is like I would call it a 3-paragraph, but it's not a 3-paragraph decree. It's not like a 3-paragraph speech, rather. This is just like a message to the people for the future. Right, it's just telling them, oh, this is more or less like a pathway, like a guide, for the future. And then they were actually looking for people that were going to help them transcribe it, only for a war to break out. And then they see that they cannot see their. Do you understand? They cannot find their something again. Something that they were like struggling. Do you get struggling to get it
try to transcribe it. Not like
Exactly, because they were like they were so interested in this thing because it was a king, and the king, according to what I read, articles have shown that he was like a very, very good king. So imagine somebody that you really like writing a story or writing a letter to
that you don't understand.
In a language that you do not understand. You're looking for a percent that somebody just
come and steal it from you.
Explain to me.
Yeah, but we'll be going on a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about other artifacts and then why it needs to be protected, because most of all these artifacts are not even in the country where they even originated from. So when we come back, we'll discuss that. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we're discussing cultural properties that are indigenous to different cultures, to different people, and what it means to them.
Exactly. I was talking about the Rosetta Stone of the Egypt people. Well, it says that the stone was carved during the Hellenistic period and is believed to have been displayed within a temple at Sias. It was probably moved in the 13th to 16th century because it was found near the town of Rashid in now Delta. They said it was found there in July 1799 by French officers. This happened during the war. There was a war that happened in a period, and then I said if like there's a war, maybe unrest, people don't exactly care about. It's not like they don't care, but at that moment they just want to save their lives. Exactly. Yeah. So they hid it at a particular place, and then the French people found it, and they're like, please.
Did they find it in France?
No,
it was found in the place,
exactly.
And they took it.
But they were at war, and then they wanted to like actually defeat them. Yeah. And then they're like, please, this one means a lot. Was it like this particular one? They were begging, and even till now, they're still begging that, please return it for us. And then that's how they took it, and right now it's at the British Museum. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of so many artifacts that have also been taken to other countries, we have the Ife head. This one, obviously, when you hear Ife, you know that it is the Yoruba people. This particular Ife head belongs to the Yoruba people of Ile-Ife, Nigeria. It is also called the Ife bronze head, but they are actually made from copper alloy. I honestly wonder why they just call them bronze, but I feel like it is because this thing were actually like very important.
Yeah, and
to them. How gold exactly. So yeah, they said it is believed to be the portrait of a king, the king Obalufon Alaye Mori. These heads are done in honor of kings, but then they said when they were excavating some sites, they saw that there were also artifacts that were done in honor of animals. Yeah. Right. That I said in the before we went on break that the Yoruba people are known for rituals, a lot of rituals, right? So if, let me say for instance, they do a ritual and it was successful, or maybe how they do rituals for rain to fall or for the sun to shine, and then they use a particular animal, maybe a bird or something, and then it actually went up to the gods in a good way, and then rain fell. They can just carve the bird and then put it in the palace as per thank you for bringing the rain. And then they also carved the faces, portraits in quotes, of kings, of hunters, people that went to war and fought, warriors, anybody at all that they felt like was important to their society at that time. And I feel like this thing it is actually, nowadays anybody can just take a portrait and just frame it and all of that, but now it is showing that at that time it was showing that these people are like important. These people are the ones that are supposed to be respected, because then there were no cameras, or there were no, apart from the crowns and most of these kings. But what about the hunters? What about the warriors? It will just show that this person has already made like a very, very big sacrifice for this society. So this person needs to be revered.
Yeah. And this Ife head, I think they also call it the Ife terracotta. Yeah. It also reminds me of the Nok terracotta head. But the difference, because I was looking at the picture, like, do we really look like this? Like, do we really look like this? Things I can find on the internet, and it's like this Nok terracotta, they are known for the they are related to the people of the Nok people of the Plateau State, and it has a distinctive style of ancient Nigerian pottery, specifically ceramic figurines, sculptures, and other artifacts. Now this Nok, it was discovered I think it's one of our oldest artifacts. It's even older than the Benin bronzes. Like it dates back to 1500 BC, 200 CE, and this is like. These things now, like, they carve them, like, you look at it, like, people actually took their time to carve these things. Even though, I don't look like that, though, but, like, it was still, like, people, they carve these things to remember their people. And now it's like, we can now find them in British museums. They were smuggled out of stolen and smuggled out of Nigeria and taken to different museums. So people that don't even know, they probably all look at them like, who is this funny looking person? But the people that own it is like,
it means a lot to them.
Something that means a lot to them. And this is like why this is not the fact that most of all these our artifacts, most of all these properties are being found in different places, not just Nigerians, like different countries are seeking like, we want this.
We want it
means
back.
Like this thing actually needs to be protected, because if it goes on like this, it means that at the end of the day, people will have nothing to show for their culture.
Exactly.
They will only be saying, oh, you know, come to Edo State, we have this, but you know, if you want to see it, go to London.
Or imagine hearing something like, oh, come to Britain, and then you see an artifact that belongs to the Edo people of Nigeria.
Because even I was reading something where the woman was like, when her father was telling her the story, like she said she had never been to any museum. She stays in Britain, and she was like, she had never been to any museum there, because it's like her father was telling her the story of how it was looted, and like she was crying. But what does it mean that she has to now go and see this in another country? Yes. And like this thing needs to be protected. Cultural property protection needs to be enforced. Like, is this effort and is the efforts put by different agencies through laws and through treaties to make sure that these properties are being protected.
Yes.
And it goes a long way in actually enforcing like diplomacy, because now a lot of countries are having issues over this thing. Give us back our stuff. Exactly. But when there's like a protection on it, there's already a rule binding that, okay, people should not actually touch this. People should give back the ones that have been taken.
It reminds me of the Iraq people that were even saying that, you know, I told you that the British were saying, oh, you people don't have enough infrastructure to take care of these artifacts, right? The Iraq people are saying, don't worry, we will build our museums and we will take care of it. If that is all it will take to bring back our artifacts back. And I think they have returned about 3. Yes, they have. And they have returned the stone of what's it called? The Greek stone.
They've returned it.
Yes, they returned it.
And like these things, like these cultural properties, like they actually like for example, now the Benin bronzes, the Nigerian government have received 31 looted Benin bronzes from US. 29 artifacts were returned by the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art, while one was recovered from the National Gallery of Afghanistan, and then the other was from the Rhode Island. It's like this protection, this property protection now is actually making a lot of countries like stop, because everybody is actually standing up. They're trying, we want our properties back. You guys don't. Thank you for keeping it for us. Thank you for taking it illegally, you know, from us.
Exactly.
But still, like, we want it back. If you feel like it's actually there, like, it should not be a big deal to return it. Exactly. If you feel like they don't have the right, it's their cross to carry. Like, if they feel like they will build their museums and they will put it now,
just
actually bring they are building a very big museum.
And I like the fact that like everybody's like sitting up right now. Like everybody wants their artifacts back. This is very nice.
He also said that they are in the process of receiving repatriated artifacts from the Netherlands, the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. That people are like trying to, because there's fire. Like, people are trying to get their stuff back.
Speaking of the Netherlands, this reminds me of the Ife head that was returned in 2020 as well. They said that a lot of top people in Nigeria, like the Nigerian government, actually spoke up for this thing, and then it has been returned in 2020. They said that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyema, the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and the Ambassador of the Kingdom of Netherlands to Nigeria, Mr. Harry Dan Vick, were involved in the repatriation of the terracotta. And now we have it back. You get like, and now we have it back, and then everybody is happy. This is how it should actually be, because just return it. Right? And then they even made an oath, something like that. And then they said that they were, you know, trying to make all these things come back, and they were trying to like put things in place to make sure that these artifacts are taken back to where they originally belong. Because I mean, it honestly does not make sense to me that I'm looking for an artifact that belongs to my culture, and then I have to like travel to another country to go and see it. I mean,
and you know that like these countries, it's not like it's just peculiar to a particular like continent. Like maybe it's only Africa that have cultural properties, so other countries don't see the importance of having your own cultural property. Everybody have their own cultural properties in their own different country. Even the Britain people, they also have their own. So it's like, you understand how important it is to you. To them. So why don't you recognize the fact that it's also important to the owners? People, but at least, thank God, people are actually now
speaking up,
clamoring for it to be returned. Germany returned 22 artifacts looted in the 19th century back to Nigeria. And you know the funny thing, they're returning this Benin bronze, because I think the Benin bronzes are too much. Like, they were plenty. And they were looted, they were sold in private auctions, they are in different museums. And they also made a deal earlier this year to transfer ownership of more than 1,000 of these precious objects. With 1,000, you get space. So honestly, don't you have yours to look for?
Honestly, like, right?
Because at least, thank God they are returning this. We are really grateful to them that they are trying to return this thing, because in that way, like, people can actually like understand that this thing is really important.
Exactly, like really, they mean a lot. Speaking of how it means a lot to a lot of people, the Egyptian green coffin has also been repatriated. They said that this, at first when I read that the Egyptian green coffin, when you hear coffin, it's not dead body. No, really, like, I'm just asking honestly, because it's not dead body that is inside. Why do they need it? But then when I saw pictures, it is just like the sculpture of a dead king inside. And then why do you need
Pharaoh?
Why do you need it? I'm sorry.
So now, like, they want to show people that this is, from another
But like,
country.
it can also still be in the country, because before these things were actually returned, it's not be small thing they do. Do you understand?
There'll be a lot of like meetings. There'll be a lot of back and forth.
Exactly. They have to like sign a lot of documents and all of that just for my own
You're
sake.
surprised about Coffin. How about Patrice Lumumba? This is a name synonymous with the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yes, I was about to say that.
This person now, like, he helped them fight for their their independence, and then he was assassinated. And then when in the process of moving his body, they stole
His gold.
A Belgian policeman stole his tooth. You no even rest for cops. You carry teeth, joy.
Help me.
And these people have been trying, like, they've been trying to get it. And luckily after 61 years, Belgian authorities finally returned it to these people.
The thing is that the only reason why I wasn't really surprised about the gold tooth here is because I heard that in the olden days, especially in Egypt, like countries like Egypt, Iraq, and all of that, when they bury kings or like prestigious people, they actually go and dig their dead bodies to take, they know that they bury these things with like gold and all of this stuff. So like they actually dig, and then they saw a gold tooth.
But this one did not dig; they were moving the body.
Hey, but at least they saw a gold tooth. It's gold. It's gold.
And like even other people, like there have been returns, but then even people are even making promises. Like last year, the French president gave a formal apology for the theft of African artifacts in the colonial era. Thank you for the apology, but return it though. Exactly. And demanded that all African artifacts in France should be returned to their rightful place. Because if you enter museums now, like when I'm seeing pictures of like these museums, it's like you're seeing like
things that don't even belong.
Like upon reading about like this topic, I was watching this movie, and next thing he had this thing on his table, and the girl that invited was like, "Oh, what's this?" She was like, "Oh, it's an artifact from India, sitting on your table there." And probably people are looking for it. Exactly. Something that you're just using for aesthetic purposes.
I feel like Stephen is a very very good one for the man to have said. I said that at least they will try to return these artifacts that are in other countries, as a matter of fact. But then they're starting from France, because yes, we need like the artifacts to be returned. But at least if one person is returning, other countries will like probably feel pressured, because African artifacts are scattered everywhere.
Because if you see, even one of the two Benin bronzes that were returned to Edo State, it was like one of the person that facilitated in returning it is the grandson of one of the person that looted it. That's Witherspoon. The person that looted it was him and other people. But his name is Witherspoon, and then his grandson saw it and was like, this feels like, because there was already like a lot of publicity going on, and I was like, this feels like something that people are looking for. And he reached out to them and was like, this thing is my house. It was like a horn, and he helped. He not even said, okay, when he followed them to return it, apparently the Edo State governor now says to give him the Oba of, they now like gave him a leopard sculpture. And like he was horrified, like, I'm trying to return one.
That story, and then you are giving me another one. Maybe later now they will say that they stole it or something. So this is another thing.
So it's like this thing, like people actually, even the people, like when you see these things happening, like if that's why like the importance of this show, because now you're like getting informed about different artifacts available, and you can recognize it when you see it. You get like, oh, this is something that this thing looks like it should be. You read up on it, you see that, okay, this is something that people need to actually know about, that is not in my country.
And then this way it even sticks, because it's different when you're just hearing something, and then when you can actually hear and see it, you can identify that, oh, this one belongs to my culture, this one happened when this happened. So I feel like it's a very very good one. And
it's actually really important, because people now are like, there are different laws in place. People are bringing laws, people are forming agencies. We have like the NCMM Act, this is like the National Commission for Museums and Monuments Act. We have UNESCO conventions, we have international treaties, but for lack of time, we can't really go more deep into these laws, which is why you guys have to tune into our next episode, because we'll be discussing that there. Please. But for now, like, you just need to understand that these cultural properties, they make us who we are. Yet culture is our way of life, is our identity, and it's something that you need to really like relate to, because you're trying to be another, like trying to associate yourself with another person's culture.
The culture just gets forgotten. Actually,
and these people, like, they probably even have your stuff. The people you're trying to be have your stuff in their museum.
Exactly, and they probably even adore. Exactly, they probably even adore it.
Yeah, so you guys need to actually get in tune with this. You guys need to read up on stuff. You guys need to like take proper cognizance of the fact that these things are important to you. They're important to somebody, because people do not just wake up and decide that this is what I want to just create.
Exactly. Even if you feel like, they're just
pictures. The pictures you take on your phones are ways you're trying to remember
create memories.
It's the same way these things too. I said, apart from memories, also help you like find a link that this is somebody that like did something for us.
It also helps to preserve the culture as well.
Exactly. And in our next episode, we'll be discussing laws that have been put in place, and also agencies that have come together to aid repatriation of these artifacts. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platform at Healed Network. Keep the conversation going respectfully. in the comment section.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Jennifer Egenti.
And I am Precious Jacob.
I will be seeing you soon.